Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Shloka 14 to 16, by Express Sundar Gopāl dāsa, about the glories of the Lord. Please repeat. Tasmat rajo raga vishada manyu manas priyabhaya dainyadi moolam hitva griham samshruti chakravalam Simhapadam bhajata kuto bhayam. Tasmat, therefore, Rajaha, of passion or material desires, Raga, attachment for material things, Vishada, then disappointment, Manyu, anger, Manas Priha, the desire to be respectful in society, Bhaya, fear, Dainya, of poverty, Adimulam, the root cause, Hitva, giving up, Griham, household life, Samskriti Chakravalam, the cycle of repeated birth and death, Nisimha Padam, lotus feet of Lord Nisimhadeva, Bhajata, worship, Akuta Bhayam, the shelter of fearlessness, Iti, thus. Translation by His Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, O demons, give up the so-called happiness of family life and simply take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadeva, which are the actual shelter of fearlessness. Entanglement in family life is the root cause of material attachment. Indefatigable desires, moroseness, anger, despair, fear, and the desire for false prestige, all of which result in the repetition of birth and death. Please repeat. Therefore, O demons, give up the so-called happiness of family life and simply take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadeva, which are the actual shelter of fearlessness. Entanglement in the family life is the root cause of material attachment. Indefatigable desires, moroseness, anger, despair, fear, and the desire for false prestige, all of which result in the repetition of birth and death. We'll go with next one also. So I'll just go with recitation. Shukadeva Goswami continued. Oh, I'll continue verse. No, it's a prose. Big one.
Read the translation.
Yeah, translation. Shukadeva Goswami continued, in the tract of land called Ketumala Varsha, Lord Vishnu lives in the form of Kamadeva, only for the satisfaction of his devotees. These include Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, the Prajapati, Samvatsara, and all of Samvatsara's sons and daughters. The daughters of Prajapati are considered the controlling deities of the nights, and his sons are considered the controlling deities of the days. The Prajapati's offspring number 36,000, one for each day and each night in the lifetime of a human being. At the end of each year, the Prajapati's daughters become very agitated upon seeing the extremely effulgent disk of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus they all suffer miscarriages. Purport by His Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This Kamadeva, who appears as Krishna's son, named Pradyumna, is Vishnu Tattva. How this is so is explained by Madhvacharya, who quotes from the Brahmananda Purana. Kamadeva Stitam Vishnu Upatate. Jai Shri Radha Madan. Although this Kamadeva is Vishnu Tattva, his body is not spiritual but material. Lord Vishnu as Pradyumna or Kamadeva accepts a material body, but he still acts spiritually. It does not make any difference whether he accepts a spiritual or a material body. He can act spiritually in any condition of existence. Mayavadi philosophers regard even Lord Krishna's body as material, but their opinions cannot impede the spiritual activity of the Lord. 16th verse. In 15. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मेलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च. श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिन् इति नामिने. नामस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
God, 15 God purport.
Okay. Yes.
So thank you very much for coming on to the Bhagavatam class. So we are reading here about Kamadeva. Of course, the verse previous to that, it's a very conclusive verse about family life. How family life is a lot of challenges. Yeah? Right?
So-called happiness of family life.
Entanglement in family life is the root cause of material attachment.
Definitely.
The fact, of course, I can purport that. It's a bit strong words to give purport. I guess Prabhupada avoided talking about it. Consolation to the householders. But the word speaks for itself. But there's a solution, you see. Although you see there's so much disadvantages, but the solution is to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. That's the solution. So similarly, in today's verse, the other verse, of course, this whole verse that we finish is about worshipping Narasimha Dev. Now we are going to another Varsha, Ketumala Varsha. There the Lord lives like Kamadev. But a very interesting point that Madhvacharya is making here. is that he is the son of Krishna, Vishnu, but he has got a material body. Yes? Although he is Vishnu Tattva, his body is not spiritual but material. Hmm? But although he's got a material body, but he acts spiritually.
Yeah.
This is a statement. Huh? So in this point, I was thinking about the spiritual master. That how the spiritual master comes and accepts the material body, but he is spiritual.
Acts. Yeah. Correct.
See? That's why we are trained to think that one should not consider the spiritual master as an ordinary person. That this is actually a very important point, especially now that we are having a lot of disputes.
Yeah.
See, the contention about the Ritvik system that was given by Prabhupada has become very much debated by the uh, those who are currently involved in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Especially now, so that someone just made a video and was mocking the DT of Prabhupada. Is it not? Perhaps you have all seen the video, right?
Yeah.
So you see how he was literally mocking and laughing at Prabhupada. So you see how they are thinking that Prabhupada is a material person. And Prabhupada has made mistakes because he has introduced a system of worship that is not shastrically presented. Something out of the blue. How can he do that? So that's the argument they put to so-called substantiate their beliefs. So we as devotees of Prabhupada, we cannot accept that. See? So this has become a very big contention. You see? So today's verse is very much substantiating this, you can see our spiritual master, he can
Act spiritually.
act, although he has a material body, but he acts spiritually, just like this.
You can act spiritually in any condition of existence.
In any condition of existence. Because the spiritual master, as we all chant in the morning, what is that verse you chant in the morning? It's not different from Sakshat Ritvena. It's non-different from the Lord. Because he is representing the Lord. So the spiritual master's position is non-different from the Lord. You cannot try to think that is an, of course there's a verse, you know which verse is that? 11:17. I'm trying to ask them because
Acharya,
all of them are big pundits here. So which verse is that? He already gave the clue.
Acharya.
Huh? What verse is that?
11.
You didn't hear him. So this is the verse. You can say in this verse, acharya mam cha vijanayam. Nava avamanyata. This word avaman. You know this word avaman?
Yeah.
It's in your
Sanskrit,
in your language.
Telugu also, everything.
Everybody's language got this word. Huh? Hello? Avaman means what?
One should never disrespect. Avamanyate.
Prabhupada translate. This is not, of course, no Prabhupada, but
Yeah. Na avamanyata is one should never disrespect. Disrespect.
so actually the word is also means humiliate, you know. Eh?
Yeah.
So it is that a very important word. You cannot humiliate the or disrespect and ridicule. Huh?
Yeah.
And this person is
Oh, yeah.
huh? What was he doing? And he put his hand there also on top of that. Not that he just laughed. Can you imagine that? So he is actually committing a very big offense, is it not? It is based on this word, just this one word. And then you see, there's another word, of course. Na martya means you cannot consider him as someone who died. Martya means someone who
Nice.
mortal, you know.
Yeah.
And then this word, Buddha, Ayu Suyeta.
Ashuyate.
Martya Buddhi means to think he is material. And
Asuya.
Suyeta means envy of him. See the whole breakdown on this verse that how you cannot treat the spiritual master. Acharya mam vijanayam is translation.
One should know the acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods.
So you see the word here, of course, this now we were talking about Shakshat Daritven. Yes?
Yes.
And maybe you say that is Vishwanath Chakravarti speculation. Huh? Correct? You can always say many things. But here, this verse that Krishna is confirming. One should know the acharya is
Yes.
myself. That means it's
Krishna.
non-different. You follow? This is spoken by who? This verse is spoken by who?
Krishna himself.
Huh?
Krishna
Speaking to who?
Buddha.
Huh? So you see, you cannot think that the acharya is. Huh? You follow? You cannot. That's why the Lord also says in another place, you know where? 11:29:6, he said again that I come, I help the devotee internally as the super soul and externally as the spiritual master.
Chaitya Vapsus.
Understand? You got it?
Yes.
Read the translation.
O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Super Soul.
So externally as the acharya and internally as the super soul. So you see this point that the spiritual master's position is again qualified, that he is a representative of the
Super Soul.
and non-different. And non-different. Okay. And again, not only that is non-different, then Krishna again says, go back, 11, 17, 27. Again he says, you see, he breaks it down. You cannot disrespect him in any way. Huh? You cannot what? one should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man. For he is the representative of all the.
Demigods.
That means his position is higher than the demigods. Okay? That in fact, when Prahlad Maharaj was, when they what's his name? Indra was taking the wife, Kayadu.
Mm.
And Narada came, what are you doing? You know where the verse? No, we are going to take this woman and wait for the child to come because she was expecting. And once the child comes, we will kill him. And then, yes, you see how he was looking at it? Then Narada, of course, Narada is Trikalagya, he knows past, present, future. He saw, he said, no, this boy is going to be he is actually a very great devotee. So the moment they heard that, then they circumvented her. Huh?
Yeah.
And they left. So this is to show that how the spiritual master is not an ordinary person, but he's the representative of all the demigods.
Yeah.
So his position is even higher than the
Demigods.
You know where else the statement is substantiated? Otherwise, I won't have a class. I'm going to give them a chance to think. 11, what you say?
15:26. That's what 7:15.
7:15:26. 7:15:26.
7?
15:26.
I was not thinking of that verse. That verse is not quite. Where else it says that they are higher than the demigod? Hello? Hello? 11, 2, 5, 6. Can you see this verse? There's 5 and then 6 also.
Yes.
Huh? Do you remember these verses? Yeah. See,
The activities of demigods led to both misery and happiness for living beings. But the activities of great saints like you, who have accepted the infallible Lord as their very soul, result only in the happiness of all beings.
see, next verse.
Those who worship the demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering. The demigods are attendants of karma, like a person's shadow, but sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen.
That is the position of the devotees. They are much more higher than the demigods, because demigods can only give you according to your karma. Whereas sadhus, they can only give you something, what? They're actually merciful to the fallen, because why? They can deliver the fallen. And this is again spoken to qualify this. Another verse, 11 to 30, 29.
Yeah.
11 to 29. Is it here? This is all spoken by who? You know, these verses are spoken by who?
Narada.
Who?
Narada.
This is spoken by Vasudeva.
Yeah. When Narada comes, he asks about speaking.
Spoken by Vasudeva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Durlabho manusho deho dehinam shanabanguraha tatrapi durlabham manye vaikunta priya darshanam. For the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha.
So pure devotees, next verse.
Therefore, O completely sinless ones, I ask you to kindly tell me what the supreme good is. After all, even half a moment's association with pure devotees within this world of birth and death is a priceless treasure for any man.
So you see the position of a devotee, I mean, he is much, much, much more higher than the demigods. Demigod can only give you material benefit. They cannot give you anything spiritual. That's why the spiritual master is the sum and substance of all the acharya mamcha vijanayam. So you see the exalted position of the spiritual master. Exalted position of the spiritual master. So being such an exalted person, you think this is wise to ridicule him? Yes? That's why it's also there's another verse. What is that verse that said you cannot treat the spiritual master as an ordinary person?
Guru
What is
Shunnar
that
Mas-
verse?
Third,
Yeah?
third offense, Guru Shunnar.
No. What is that? Seven 15:26. You cannot mistreat him, take that. But I'm talking about how you cannot see him as an ordinary person. I was thinking of this verse, Arche Vishnu Sila Desu. Can you take that on now? Hello?
So,
See here, this is from
Any-
where? Vishnu Purana, is it?
number.
Hello?
Just one word in Prabhu. Yeah. Not to get any worse with that.
Acharya Vishnu Shiladir Guru
Yeah,
Shunnar
yeah.
Vaishnave Jati
Some don't
Buddhi.
have translation properly. Yeah? Take out the
Sure.
one that read the.
One
Is
should,
that-
one should not consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in the temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master as an ordinary man.
See, one should not consider the spiritual master as an ordinary
Man.
See? This is from where?
This is from, I think, Padma Purana.
Padma.
Padma Purana. So again, you see how you cannot consider the spiritual master an ordinary person. Huh? So, but you see how you come to that kind of coming to this kind of a consciousness that you start acting or thinking that the spiritual master is ordinary. How you try to what do we say, challenge his authority. How you think that it's all right for you to disobey him. Actually, I just did a class, with the Russian devotees. I think that video will be good if you can look at it also. So I'm just going on this point, why, what happens that you come to this kind of consciousness and you don't think that it's all right. Trying to kind of challenge Srila Prabhupada. Why you come to this? Why? How? Envy. Yeah, very good answer. Envy. Why you envy, Srila Prabhupada? Again, question. Why?
No, once we reject instructions,
Huh?
just now also we saw, once we reject instructions, then we become crazy.
Huh?
Just now, in the previous verses of 11th canto, we saw once we reject him, then we become crazy and then we act against him.
Where is that verse?
Just
I didn't see that. You sure?
how to go to previous searches.
What verse is that? Which verse is that? Acharya mam cha vichaniyam.
Once we reject him, then we act like this. Just now in one of the translations we saw.
What verse is that? Huh? So why we become envious of the spiritual master?
We want to be worshipped.
So usually envy comes when someone becomes a competitor. Is it not? When you're competing, then you become envious because he's like a, what do you call that? Somebody who's going to compete with you. That's why I had to justify this. That's a verse, of course. Where? Where's that? Huh? In this question of the demons, 16, what? 15, 13, is it? 13, 15, is it? He is my enemy. I have killed him. He is my other enemy. I also, that brings about what? Enmity, enviousness. Because that's, but how they can compete with Prabhupada? Why they compete with Prabhupada? This is an interesting question.
They want to control.
Because they are becoming gurus on their own rights. They're not becoming gurus when they are authorized. See, when you take up a position when you are not spiritually in an elevated position, then all these anarthas will breed in your heart. You follow? Just like now, because we are conditioned, we are all conditioned souls. I don't know about you, but particularly me. So I acting in the material consciousness. Just now we read today's verse. Although he has a material body, but he acts in a spiritual. Spiritual consciousness and material consciousness, there's big difference. That's why the word Jiva Bhuta and Brahma Bhuta. So when you use the word Jiva Bhuta means the conditioned soul. That's why today the verse, that's now 5, 18, 14, no? The 5, 18, 14 verse has got all the bad qualities, right? That is the position of the Jiva Bhuta. Are you following? Let's go back. Can see? Can you read?
Entanglement in the family
See
life
that?
is the root cause of material attachment, indefatigable desires, moroseness, anger, despair, fear, and the desire for false prestige.
Desire for false prestige. You see how this is the Jiva Bhuta platform. All the bad qualities. Yes. All the bad qualities are coming out.
Yes.
All the bad qualities are manifesting. Primarily, it's all because of what? The basic thing, what? Sex life. And this family means what? Correct? So when you get into this kind of thing, all these kind of qualities are there. And if you are not in the spiritual platform, then you will start envying. Correct? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Matsarya. That's now the word one should not envy him. but you are envying him. That means you are seeing him as a competitor. You understand? So when you try to see him as a competitor and you're getting all these dirty things in your heart, then the result will be you become offensive. And when you become offensive, what happens? You fall down. You understand? And of course, there are many examples of this behavior. I don't know you are following, treating him as an ordinary person. The number one thing is to reject his orders. To reject his, that's why Prabhupada said, spiritual master, you cannot reject his order. Just that verse,
The order of
3:24. Is it?
Yes, sir.
3:24:13. And this verse,
Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir."
see the word one should obey the command of the spirit of the father or the spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir." In the purport, Prabhupada writes that you cannot, should never.
The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master ordered should be taken without argument. Yes, there should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, "This is not correct, I cannot carry it out." When he says that, he is fallen. The father and the spiritual master are on the same platform because the spiritual master is the second father.
In other words, once you have taken initiation and you have called yourself as a disciple, you cannot question the order of the spiritual master. You cannot, you want to make us sit down. You cannot question the order of the. I know you're going to say the two words.
Some disciples then they don't want to disobey the spiritual master because of this.
So already disciples.
They are already initiated by the Guru, they cannot disobey the Guru.
So that is the problem. The Guru is seeing Prabhupada as a competitor. So they are trying to, because they are following somebody who has deviated, so their consciousness is also becoming polluted. So they try to find fault with Prabhupada. You see how it goes? It's all like Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was speaking to us, but he never had any time saw Bhakti Siddhanta as a competitor. We was always awe and revering him at any point, always. Only by the mercy of my spiritual master that I have got this position. I am now teaching you. Always he said, whatever due credit comes to me is only by the mercy of my spiritual master. Huh? But you never see these words coming from the so-called, she is running up and down. Maybe you want to just ask her to sit down. So you see how it's very important that this kind of consciousness is breeding. It's all subtle, you just see how it's affecting. That they are so much ingrained into their so-called guru that they dare to criticize. But there's a verse, in this verse 3:29-17, it says here that one should never disrespect the what? Spiritual master and the acharyas. See? Can you read?
The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are his equals, but all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of the senses.
See that point here? He should give the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharya. Huh?
Hmm?
Hello? Are you reading this verse? I'm kind of explain this. Please have some intelligence. You see the word here? Hello? Huh? You have to give what? Greatest respect by ridiculing him? It just doesn't say only the spiritual master, it says acharya as well. Can you go to the Sanskrit? What is
Yes.
it says in Sanskrit? Go to the Sanskrit
Yes,
of
yes.
this word.
Mahatma
Mahantam Bahu
Mane.
Manena. Mahantam Bahu Manena. Manena means what? Respect.
Respect.
Man. Yes. Bahu means what? Greatest. Huh?
Avaman opposite.
Opposite of Apamana, Bahumana.
Yeah.
So you see how I just cannot sit here and speak my crazy mind just because I'm a Ritvik or what. But I have to substantiate my argument with all these statements.
Yes.
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 So you cannot disobey the order of the Spirit. You cannot question. You cannot. That is substantiated by another two statements from Savama Bhattacharya. And 137,
144,
144, 145.
yeah, 145, 145.
So in this verse, you can see
144. Go to 144.
Going. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, the order of the spiritual master is very strong and cannot be disobeyed. That is the injection of the Shastras, the revealed scriptures.
say this here again. The order of the spiritual master cannot be disobeyed at any time. Huh? It is no more question of whether it's Shastra, not Shastra, no Parampara, no. All these are nonsense arguments. They are not, cannot be validated. They are, I would say, offensive. Because once you come to being a disciple, you cannot question. There's no more question. You understand? How you can say this, how you cannot ask this kind of question. Irrelevant. Only you have to follow. You have to follow. Without any, what you see, next verse, huh? Without any what? Reasoning. Is here. Next verse.
Being ordered by his father, Parshurama killed his mother, Renuka, just as if she were an enemy. When Lakshmana, the younger brother of Lord Ramachandra, heard of this, he immediately engaged himself in the service of his elder brother and accepted his orders. The order of the spiritual master must be obeyed without consideration.
Without consideration. Hello. Ah. I mean, are they reading these books or not? That's my question.
Not read.
Huh? You see? The Prabhupada has ordered that you chant how many rounds?
16
How many rounds? 16?
rounds.
Where is this substantiated in the Shastra?
Yeah.
Anywhere in the Shastra it says you chant 16 rounds? Huh? You can say this is concoction of Prabhupada. Huh? You can say that. Right? But why are you not arguing on that issue? You are not debating on that. Huh? You gladly accept because it's convenient. No? Isn't it? If we were to say 64 rounds, you would have left long time ago. Ah, you see the point. You are not at any moment. There's no two movement. One is 64 round movement, one is 16 round movement, or one 4 round movement, or 3 round, 2 round. Yeah? There's no such thing. Standard. Everybody chants how many rounds?
16 rounds.
Not only in our movement, nah? Even the Godema, everywhere. Everybody chants how many rounds?
16 rounds.
It is not substantiated by any shastric injunction. It is classified as an order of the. And Prabhupada also then says, of course, in 2:10-2:31, that this order is very bona fide. Why? Because I am the acharya, sampradaya. I am the acharya. Can you go?
Yeah.
You see, he qualified himself as the what? Today's verse. He is the one representative of Krishna. That's why he's got so much of what we say, credential to put in.
O Lord, who resemble the shining sun.
Of course, you read this, Very important. You should read this.
Yeah. O Lord, who resemble the shining sun. You are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotee, and therefore you are known as a desire tree, Vancha Kalpataru. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nations, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross. And because you are merciful to your other devotees, you accept this method to help them.
See that? Because you are merciful to your other devotees, you accept this method to help them. These are not some light statements. In other words, because he is a representative of the Lord, he has given the authority to find the proper what? Methods. You can go. I mean, we'll come back to this verse. We'll go again to 4:8:54. You see, in this verse, you see here, can you go down to the Raghavacharya, Veera Raghavacharya? If go down there, when you see Veera Raghava.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can
Srimad-
read this part.
Srimad-
yeah.
Srimad Veeraragava Acharya, an Acharya in the disciplic succession of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, has remarked in his commentary that Chandalas are conditioned souls who are born in lower than Shudra families can also be initiated according to the circumstances. The formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them Vaishnavas.
So that thing here. Huh? So the Acharya has got that what? That power to adjust things for bringing low class people. Formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them
Vaishnava.
This is authority. See how Prabhupada is not in any way deviating. He's not what? Because we are conditioned souls. We're trying to challenge. How whimsical. Can you go back to that verse again? What happened? Change group. You have to go to work or something? Going to work. Going to work. Acharya calling. So are you following my reasoning? Are you or not? Yes, no. So you see how this has become a big issue. And here Prabhupada is saying in the purport, this 16 rounds is bona fide. Okay? I think, yeah, can read.
The Acharya gives a suitable method for crossing the ocean of nations by accepting the bore of the Lord's lotus feet, and if this method is strictly followed, the followers will ultimately reach the destination by the grace of the Lord. This method is called acharya sampradaya.
No, there's a verse
On the bill above that, no?
support. You see the books, Rupa Goswami. That
Bona fide
chant
instructions.
16 rounds is bona fide.
Thus, the devotees have been advised to refrain from 4 sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, and to chant 16 rounds a day. These are bona fide instructions.
These are bona fide. How they are bona fide instruction? How? Because it is coming from the mouth of the teacher. And he says that he is what? He is the acharya in the sampradaya. You know, this now you read that. That means he is not some what? Ordinary person. He is a representative of Krishna. You cannot, what do we say? Disobey his order. Not possible. You understand? So if he giving you 16 rounds and he says this is bona fide, and if he gives you the Ritvik system and you say it's not bona fide, then what kind of nonsense is that? Isn't that contradictory? Huh? Hello? We will go back to another verse that stress this point. You know where is it? Huh? No?
Stress what point?
Huh?
Stress what point?
Stressing this point.
Of-
That the word of the spiritual master is very, very authoritative. 772 RD. Read the purport. Now you read the verse and then you read the purport.
मूर्खो तुम्ही तुम्हारा नाहिक वेदांत अधिकार कृष्ण मंत्र जप सदा ए मंत्र सार. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. From here. Purport. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj comments in this connection. One can become perfectly successful in the mission of his life if he acts exactly according to the words he hears from the mouth of his spiritual master.
Does that point here? Hello? Read on.
This acceptance of the words of the spiritual master is called Shrautavakya, which indicates that the disciple must carry out the spiritual master's instructions without deviation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that a disciple must accept the words of his spiritual master as his life and soul.
See? Again? Read on.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here confirms this by saying that since his spiritual master ordered him only to chant the holy name of Krishna, he always chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra according to this direction. Krishna mantra japa sada e mantra sar. Krishna is the origin of everything. Therefore, when a person is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that his relationship with Krishna has been fully confirmed. Lacking Krishna consciousness, one is only partially related with Krishna and is therefore not in his constitutional position. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead
See here
Krishna.
again, this is a very important point. Therefore, lacking Krishna consciousness, one is only partially related to Krishna and therefore is not in his constitutional position. The spiritual master is completely, where the living entity is what? Partially. There's the two different positions. You understand this point? Read on.
Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the spiritual master of the entire universe, he nevertheless took the position of a disciple in order to teach by example how a devotee should strictly follow the orders of a spiritual master in executing the duty of always chanting the Hare Krishna mantra.
See that here again? This is personally said by the Lord himself. This example is set by the Lord himself. You cannot what? You cannot take this lightly. He himself is not debating with the Spirit. Why are you telling me to chant only? I should learn the Vedanta. There's so many people are learning. Huh? Correct? Yes, are you understanding this point? Huh? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, God himself, he never disobeyed. He just carried out the instruction of his. Nah, this is not parampara. How he can do this? There's no sampradaya that does this. He could have talked all this to his what? Is it not? He could ask all this question to his spiritual man. No. He ordered and he obeyed. Yes? Yes. Yes. Then
One who is very much attracted to the study of Vedanta philosophy must take lessons from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this age, no one is actually competent to study Vedanta, and therefore it is better that one chant the holy name of the Lord, which is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, as Krishna himself confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Only fools give up the service of the spiritual master and think themselves advanced in spiritual knowledge.
this is another relevant point. Only fools. Huh? Only what? Fools. They think themselves advanced in knowledge and they try to criticize how you could do this, how you could do that. Huh? Is it not? How you cannot do? You think this verse is not relevant? Huh? Did you know this verse? Huh? Did you see this verse before?
No.
Huh? Read on.
In order to check such fools, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself presented the perfect example of how to be a disciple. A spiritual master knows very well how to engage each disciple in a particular duty, but if a disciple, thinking himself more advanced than his spiritual master, gives up his orders and acts independently, he checks his own spiritual progress.
Hello?
Purport is a powerhouse.
Huh? If he thinks he knows more than his guru, this is what happens. This is what's happening. The writings on the wall. Hello, look.
Every disciple must consider himself completely unaware of the signs of Krishna and must always be ready to carry out the orders of the spiritual master to become competent in Krishna consciousness.
Another point. Huh? I think all these things completely defeat this nonsense.
Important.
Yes. Yes or not? Hello.
A disciple should always remain a fool before his spiritual master. Therefore, sometimes pseudo-spiritualists accept a spiritual master who is not even fit to become a disciple because they want to keep him under their control. This is useless for spiritual realization.
This is exactly what they are doing. They want to keep what? Huh? Disciples? Mafias? Huh? Hello? You go and talk philosophy. That's all they speak. Is it not? No argument. They don't want to hear. Oh, aparadi, aparadi, aparadi. Huh? That's all. Is it not? Read on.
One who imperfectly knows Krishna consciousness cannot know Vedanta philosophy. A showy display of Vedanta study without Krishna consciousness is a feature of the external energy Maya. And as long as one is attracted by the inebriaties of this ever-changing material energy, he deviates from devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
See? They don't know philosophy, cannot understand philosophy because they're offensive.
Actually, they are always changing their Guru Tattva.
Yeah.
The way they explain, ever-changing.
Because this ever-changing material energy, he deviates from the devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Huh? You can see how much compromisation is going on. Shocking. Is it not? I mean, this verse is enough, Prabhu. I was shocked when I read this verse. How I could miss it? Huh? 73 is for chanting, no? I mean, but 72 is for everybody. Is it not? Hello? It's not finished, huh? This verse is not finished, you know. Please read on.
An actual follower of Vedanta philosophy is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, who is the greatest of the great and the maintainer of the entire universe. Unless one surpasses the field of activities in service to the limited, one cannot reach the unlimited. Knowledge of the unlimited is actual Brahma Gyan, or knowledge of the Supreme. Those who are addicted to fruitive activities and speculative knowledge cannot understand the value of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which is always completely pure, eternally liberated, and full of spiritual bliss.
See? They cannot understand because they are addicted to fruitive and speculative. Therefore, they cannot understand this Brahma Gyan. It's not possible. Huh? And they cannot even chant the holy name also properly. It's not possible. Always know this Kirtan Mela, and nothing but Kirtan Mela. What is going on? Huh? It's some kind of rock concert. Huh? Hello? Yeah, all written here. Carry on.
One who has taken shelter of the holy name of the Lord, which is identical with the Lord, does not have to study Vedanta philosophy, for he has already completed all such study.
This is Sunday class. In Sunday, we gave the verse 828. One who has chanted the holy name, Aho Bhata Swagata Garyan, that's again 333, 7. There's no need for anything else. There's no need for complete. One who knows Krishna, he knows everything. What? 15, 19. Bhagavad Gita. Yes?
One who is unfit to chant the holy name of Krishna but thinks that the holy name is different from Krishna and thus takes shelter of Vedanta study in order to understand him must be considered a number one fool,
Yes.
as confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his personal behavior. And philosophical speculators who want to make Vedanta philosophy an academic career are also considered to be within the material energy. A person who always chants the holy name of the Lord, however, is already beyond the ocean of nescience, and thus even a person born in a low family who engages in chanting the holy name of the Lord is considered to be beyond the study of Vedanta philosophy. So, this is about chanting now. Do we read all this or the
No, it's okay.
Guru?
So you see, we have covered this very important point. The point is that the order of the spiritual master can at any point be disobeyed. This is confirmed by the statements of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes. But you see how they have deviated, questioning, cross-questioning, challenging, and ridiculing Srila Prabhupada. So how much if you think how much you can progress if you take shelter of such people? Where's your destination? Huh? Anyone who offends the spiritual master, you know where's the verses? One who offends the spiritual master. Where's the verse? Hello? Where's the verses when you offend the spiritual master? No. No verse, Prabhu. Spiritual master is so merciful, Prabhu, we cannot offend him. Yeah? Where is that? Doing Gayatri at this time.
In that way, no need to answer question.
Oh, silent chanting. All right, we'll go first to 119, 156. Go to the last paragraph. You can read the words and then you can read. I don't know, we're going time, our time is running. This is I thought it was a short class today, but
If CC Madhya 19.156.
yeah.
If the devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava while cultivating the creeper of devotional service in the material world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up.
You go to the bottom, because you can read the purport. Yes. Yeah, the offense to the spiritual master.
Giving up the regulative principles and living according to one's whims is compared to a mad elephant, which by force uproots the bhaktilata and breaks it to pieces. In this way, the bhaktilata shrivels up. Such an offense is especially created when one
I
disobeys
think we
the
have to break
instructions.
fast, what time is that? Breaking fast? 10 something. Huh?
What is the time? I mean,
10:56, I think. 10? 10:59. She's still got time somewhere. Right?
such an offense is especially created when one disobeys the instructions of the spiritual master. This is called Guru Avagnya. The devotee must therefore be very careful not to commit offenses against the spiritual master by disobeying his instructions. As soon as one is deviated from the instructions of the spiritual master, the uprooting of the bhaktilata begins and gradually all the leaves dry up.
So that the moment you disobey his instruction, then your bhakti, your devotional creeper dries up. You see how they are very offensive. If you go into this line, you're going to be in big trouble. Not only that, when you not only become, you also get inflicted with material desires. I've explained that a million times. Where is that? Antya 8:26. Karma vasanam. Huh?
Vasana Janmila. এই যে শ্রী মাধবেন্দ্র শ্রীপাদ উপেক্ষা করিল সে অপরাধে ইহার vasana জন্মিল. Ramachandra Puri was thus denounced by Madhavendra Puri due to his offense. Gradually, material desire appeared within him.
Say the moment you not only your devotional creeper shrill up and dry, then you also get to fall down. You get inflicted with material. What are the material desires? Can go down. Purport.
Purport: the word vasana, material desires, refers to dry speculative knowledge. Such speculative knowledge is only material. A person, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4, a person without devotional service who simply wants to know things, kevala bodhalabdhaye, gains only dry speculative knowledge but no spiritual profit. This is confirmed in the Bhakti Sandarbha 111, wherein it is said, Jivan mukta api punaryanti samsara vasanam yadyachintya mahashakto bhagavatyaparadhina. Even though one is liberated in this life, if one offends the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
or the spiritual master, two in the same.
He falls down in the midst of material desires, of which dry speculation about spiritual realization is one.
See that point there? You understand this? This is all Shastra, no? Yeah? So
if we still have material desire, does that mean that we are continuously offering?
no, if you are taking shelter of a pure devotee, then that purification process is on. But in this case, you have offended. Although you are seemingly making progress, but because you offend, then your spiritual progress is shunted. And again, all your material desires will breed in your heart. You understand? Then you'll be attracted to Brahman, like here, Ramachandra Puri, although is a disciple of who? Madhavendra Puri, he became a Mayavad. You follow? See, in fact, if you follow a pure devotee, you will become a pure devotee. But here he's been initiated by a pure devotee, but he has fallen down to Brahman platform. Why? Because of offense. And the next verse also, there's one more verse there.
2 verses are there. More.
Yeah.
In his Laghu Toshini commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32, Jiva Goswami says, Jivan Mukta api punarbandhanam yanti karma bhihim yad yachintya mahashakto bhagavat aparadhinaha. Even if one is liberated in this life, he becomes addicted to material desires because of offenses to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
I think the last line, I think. Yeah,
Similar quotation
yeah.
from one of the Puranas also appears in the Vishnu Bhakti Chandrodaya. Jivan muktaha prapadyante kvachit samsara vasanam yogino na vilipyante karmabhir bhagavat paraha. Even liberated souls sometimes fall down to material desires, but those who fully engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not affected by such desires.
Fully engaged. You can only be fully engaged by fully surrendering to the spiritual master.
These are references from authoritative revealed scriptures. If one becomes an offender to his spiritual master or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he falls down to the material platform to merely speculate.
So you see how this has already been acts on a person who tried to deviate from the order of the spiritual master. It's a very dangerous position. It's a very I think there's another word, right? Huh? 11.3.48. 11.3.48, is it? Labdha, yeah.
Labdhvanugraha acharyat tena sandarshitagamaha mahapurusham abhyarchen murtyabhimatayatmanaha. Having obtained the mercy of his spiritual master who reveals to the disciple the injunctions of Vedic scriptures, the devotee should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the particular personal form of the Lord the devotee finds most attractive. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the word...
Go down.
This one.
Yeah, one pollutes.
In the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it is stated, Bodhaha kalushitastena dauratmyam prakatikritam gururyena parityaktas tena tyaktaha pura harihi. One pollutes his own intelligence and exhibits severe weakness of character when he rejects his own spiritual master. Indeed, such a person has already rejected the Supreme Lord Hari.
Is that here?
It's actually a very good verse. I am not sure this.
Pollutes is what? I seem to know all these guru verses very well. I've been going through this many times. I think some more there.
Yeah, that
Must take reinitiation. I think that is another verse below. Yeah. I Vaishnava.
Jiva Goswami, however, quoted this verse from the Narada Pancharatra. Avaishnavopadishtena mantrena nirayam vrajet punascha vidhina samyak grahayed Vaishnavad guroho. One who is initiated into a mantra by a non-Vaishnava must go to hell.
Just see again. If you follow all these deviants, where are you going to go? But you cannot say, Prabhu, they are not Vaishnava. I will show you how they are not Vaishnava. But let's finish this verse.
Therefore, he should again be initiated properly according to the prescribed method by a Vaishnava guru.
Method by Vaishnava. Prabhupada is given. You must be reinitiated, Prabhupada said. It's Jiva Goswami. So why they are not Vaishnava? Can I go? 11:29. Yeah. Shruti Smriti, this verse.
Shruti Smriti mamaivagnya yaste ullanghya vartate agnya chhedi mama dveshi madbhaktopi na Vaishnava.
Na Vaishnava. You see this verse?
Madbhaktopi.
Even though he is a devotee, but he is not purport. I mean the translation.
The Shruti and Smriti literatures are to be understood as my injunctions, and one who violates such codes is to be understood as violating my will and thus opposing me. Although such a person may claim to be my devotee, he is not actually a Vaishnava.
See that? See how all this links in. Understand? You cannot just say, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You become offensive, you go around in joining and clapping hands. Ah, hello? Dangerous. You cannot make any spiritual advancement by disobeying the order of the spiritual master. Period. You understand? There is no question of asking why Prabhupada did this and Prabhupada did that. There is no irrelevant. It is what? Irrelevant. You cannot question. That's now we read. You cannot question. Yes. You understand? So all this argument whether this is parampara, not parampara, and how could Prabhupada do this and all this, these are completely irrelevant. Your duty is to obey the order of the spiritual master. If we say you do this, you do that. You cannot say why you say like this. You cannot. This is not possible. Correct? I think I proved my case. Yes? Yes or no? Huh? Any more questions?
There's a similar verse through that 5.8.54 Viraragava Acharya's comment, right? Where the formalities can be changed. In the Adilila 7. Oh no. So here, Kichuranga. So Adi 7:31-32. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped, therefore I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Here is an important point. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to invent a way to capture the Mayavadis and others who did not take interest in the Krishna consciousness movement. This is the symptom of an acharya. An acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype for which he must find the ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. And then he goes on to mention in 37. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an ideal acharya. An acharya is an ideal teacher who knows the purport of the revealed scriptures, behaves exactly according to their injunctions, and teaches his students to adopt these principles also. As an ideal acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu devised ways to capture all kinds of atheists and materialists. Every acharya has a specific means of propagating his spiritual movement with the aim of bringing men to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the method of one acharya may be different from that of another, but the ultimate goal is never neglected. An acharya should devise a means by which people may somehow or other come to Krishna consciousness. And then the acharya must devise a means to bring them to devotional service. Therefore, although I am a sannyasi, I sometimes take part in getting boys and girls married, although in the history of sannyas, no sannyasi has personally taken part in marrying his disciples.
This is again another point Prabhupada is saying that how is it different?
Yeah.
You know, Prabhupada is to play a role to bring people in, especially people from, very different culture,
So Ritvik system is also a device in which,
Yes.
capture all the future souls as well.
If you understand, you have people who are not qualified, and he was going to leave, and he wanted the system to carry on. But how to leave this in the hands of people who are totally, not doing anything, practically. So of course, he's an acharya. He thought, right, let's make the Ritvik system. I will still be the spiritual master, and you all work on together. Everything goes on, nothing short. Same time, we are also protected. We don't get all this enviousness, desire to compete with him, and all these things. They are shielded. You see how Prabhupada is like a mother hen, you know, protecting the chicks, you know. Hey, how he's so expertly, and instead of doing this, some what is the overzealous disciples started to invent. That's now we read Bhaktisiddhanta that purport, try to invent. And what is the result? Chaos. So I think being a Ritvik is the only answer to your spiritual life. If you think that you know more, I think you're asking for trouble. This one is 733, also the same 733 and 737.
731, 32, and 37.
That is substantiates how Prabhupada is authorized. So please don't question Prabhupada. You understand? It's very offensive. Already you can see openly, not only him, Jaya Advaita also. What? This is not a Prabhupada song again. Yeah? You understand? Tamal, he told me, all Prabhupada disciples should be reinitiated. Is this not offensive? I can go on and on, you know, Prabhu, because they are envious. So the enviousness, he says, you know, in this verse, you know about enviousness. I quoted yesterday, 144. I quoted this verse yesterday's question and answer also. This is
तस्मान्न कस्यचित् द्रोहम् आचरेत् स तथा विधः आत्मनः क्षेमम् अन्विच्छन् द्रोग्धुर् वै परतो भयम्. Therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next.
this is spoken by Vasudev to Kamsa. This enviousness. And of course, we read that day, the 7:15. The moment you are envious, you lose all your spiritual. You know, we quoted that verse also. 7:15 something. You lose all your intelligence. Is it not? 7:15 what? Who knows?
Envious.
Seven 15? What? Hello, you're looking? 43. Can you read?
7:15.
I quoted that day the class. No, come on.
Hmm. 43, 44.
Right? Let's see what it says. No, not this one. Is it 7:15 or 7:14?
Oh,
Yeah?
you mean the devotees?
Yeah.
71440.
So the
714. I mean, the deity worship was introduced.
no, it says the one who are envious,
40.
I think it's 714, I think. Is it 714? All these bad qualities.
Bad qualities.
I mean,
Bad qualities.
I quoted it, where nobody remembers. One who's envious, one who's Brahmana loses all his intelligence. Hare Krishna. 715 or 7? Must be 715. Yeah, 715, 19, greed. Because of greed for the sake of the senses, the spiritual strength, education, austerity, and reputation of a devotee or Brahmana is not self-satisfied, dwindle, and his knowledge gradually vanishes.
असंतुष्टस्य विप्रस्य तेजो विद्या तपो यशः श्रवन्तीन्द्रियलौल्येन ज्ञानं चैवावकीर्यते. Because of greed for the sake of the senses, the spiritual strength, education, austerity, and reputation of a devotee or a Brahmana who is not self-satisfied dwindle and his knowledge gradually vanishes. It's actually very important.
That is more of a greed. I guess it's all come together. Greed, envy, all part and parcel. All right. This is the verse I'm talking about. You see, immediately you lose all your intelligence, your what? Knowledge, everything goes. Huh? See how dangerous this is, That's why if you go to this camp, spiritual suicides. It is spiritual suicide. Okay. Huh? Stone boat. You go to hell. Especially offending the spiritual master. That spiritually it's a finish. All right, I guess we'll stop here then. Thank you very much. Yeah, question? Huh?
The level is level 29. Once you reinitiate it, takes a matter of onwards. Then for ISKCON devotees, they come here, for example, they have to take don't they read?
Yeah, you can give them the initiation.
Why do we
They have to accept Prabhupada.
Yes.
First thing in the heart, to accept back Prabhupada. Because whoever you went, they have shunted your process. They're supposed to be representing Prabhupada. So when you reconnect that, then again, spiritually you make progress. If the person wants, it's no problem.
But is it necessary?
Huh?
But is it necessary?
Now the ceremony is not going to give the power. It's your consciousness. Understand? The consciousness that now you accept Prabhupada as your, that makes a big difference. I quoted the letter, Kirtananda's letter. Right? You remember Kirtananda wants to
16.
address his kin, but because he has disconnected, he has to again reconnect. You saw that letter? Do you know the letter? Huh?
You were there.
I think something 15 what? Huh? What? 67, no?
6th October. Huh?
I have quoted that many, many times, no?
October 6th, how to?
October 6, 1967.
Is this the one? Letter to Satswarup?
Yeah.
My dear Satswarup, please accept my blessings. Okay, wait.
Kirtananda is very here.
Kirtanananda may be eager to address in the Harvard University, but recently he has lost his link on account of disobedience.
So that loss is on account of disobedience. See?
You sing every day morning that by the mercy of the spiritual master one can please the Lord, and one who has not pleased the spiritual master cannot have any access in the realm of Krishna consciousness. Very recently, Kirtanananda has developed a different consciousness of Maya, which is called misuse of one's minute independence offered by Krishna. By misuse of one's independence, one at once becomes a victim of Maya, and thus he loses all importance in Krishna consciousness. So it is my definite opinion that his lecture anywhere now will bear no spiritual sequence. He must rectify his mistake before he can play in our society any important role. By lips, he says that he is a surrendered soul, but by action, he is thinking differently.
So you see this? So if he relink himself, understand that Prabhupada is the Guru, and start worshipping, then again Prabhupada said the energy will flow. You understand? So they are now cut it because they've been what? Poisoned. And this man is a classic example. He's laughing at Prabhupada. You saw how he was laughing. I mean, I don't know Hindi, I don't know what he's speaking, but the laugh is enough. What? You can show the clip here for those people who are not knowing. There are many innocent who don't know anything.
I don't know if I've got it.
He's laughing in Hindi, I think.
Put it back. Put it back.
Huh?
No, he put it back. Did you see? He put it back, the clip. Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
16 rounds. See, what if these analyses? Pakistan started to stand 64 rounds, but I think for Grahastas it was 16 rounds. Because Prabhupada, one of the memory was telling that he chants 4 rounds, 16 rounds 4 times in a day. Is Grahasta like that?
No, he says to the devotee, you can always chant 4 rounds at a time. Bhaktisiddhanta is 64.
Because of this,
In fact, why this statement is not valid? Because Prabhupada went to the West, he started to tell everyone first 32 rounds.
64, no?
He did not give 64. First he said 32 rounds. Yeah, that is how you should finish your 16 rounds.
So does it mean that I think that Gurumat was a concession for 16 and
No,
Sanyasi is 64?
I don't think so. Prabhupada gave us 32 rounds first, and we could not do, then say 16 and no less. You understand? If he has already given there in Gaudiya 16, he would have not told 32 rounds.
Some people are saying Gurumat does only 64.
Now, Gaudiya, if you cannot do, then at least you should do 4 rounds.
No, no, that is now. Talking about Bhaktisiddhanta
No,
time.
but then, Siddhar Maharaj, you were saying.
Some of those guys, the Sanyasi, they are saying that giving also for
Good to find out the letter. Better, no, because don't tell anything, In fact, Gaudiya also, everyone chanting 16 rounds now. Everyone is doing 16 rounds.
Some people they are saying depends on Guru to Guru, how many rounds he wants to give.
Huh?
Depends on Guru to Guru, how many rounds he wants to give.
Or depends on Guru.
Prabhupada is giving 16.
Yes, now we read 16 rounds is bona fide, right? Prabhupada started 16 rounds. I remember there's a letter, initially he asked everyone to chant 32 rounds, but they could not do, impossible for them. Then Prabhupada reduced it to 16 and he said no less.
Prithvi,
He is the one who said, Prabhupada told him.
Prabhupada told him to chant 16 rounds. This guy, what's he doing?
He said, Prabhupada in his personal life, he was doing 16 and after that he became sannyas from 64.
Huh? What do you say?
no, apparently in that book, the Satswarup's book, he was saying that Prabhupada in his Grihastha days was doing 16 rounds, and then when he was in Vanaprastha Sannyas, then he did 64. That was then in Gaudiya Math they do like that, it seems. Bhaktisiddhanta time.
So it seemed like
I have a thing about the 25 rounds, you know. I quoted that in the, did I put in my WhatsApp? The 25 rounds? Ah, how the 25 rounds? The Prabhupada, generally in India, everyone chants 25 rounds. So that statement is also there. That one Prabhupada said, the letter is there. So all these things, we have to get it straight from Prabhupada. In fact, I know that how many rounds Prabhupada chanted, it was not, he never advertised that. In fact, he said you should constantly be chanting. That's what he. But I know he initially gave 32 rounds. There's a letter there, 32 rounds you can see. And then couldn't do. Then Prabhupada said, okay, 16 is the bare minimum. For us. But Gaudiya Math, I know if they cannot finish 64, then they say you should not staff the beach. This is from Sridhar Maharaj. Yeah? You should not staff the beach. You should do only minimum 4 rounds. So, of course, everyone will do that. Yeah? Yes?
you know regarding the Prabhupada used to appreciate the Ramakrishna mission.
Yeah.
Depends on how they are managing the, I think they also like retreat system.
Yeah, it's a Ritvik.
So he was appreciating it.
As an organization, they have done well. Proper remark. But there's a letter to that. Yeah, we are messed up. Well, so okay. At least try to change your 16 rounds. Yeah? I think this statement that we have now put together, it proves that the rhetoric system has to be obeyed without any
Question.
any doubt. No need to talk about parampara, this is living, all these are nonsense. Not relevant. All right. So that's why today's verse, although he is not Vishnu Tattva, he is Vishnu Tattva, but his material body. But material body acts spiritually. How is that? Because there is Achintya Beda Tattva. Inconceivably one and yes. All right. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Prabhupada ki. Very long class.